AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door. It's that season, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a fun time on this stream today as we go through the match card on 0 Hour. We've got the Owen Hart Cup. We've got Mariah May versus Saraya. We've got a tag team match, Willow Nightingale and Tam Nakano versus Kris Statlander and Momo Wantabe. We've also got, just to say quickly as well, expect some names to be butchered on this stream. It's going to happen. We've got Briscoe and Lucha Bros against LIJ. And on the main show, we've got the TNT Championship ladder match. Of course, 5 of the 6 names have been announced at the time of recording. For the Owen Hart for the men, we've got Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi. We've got John Moxley versus Tetsuya Naito for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. MJF takes on Ikakero, I hope I'm saying that one correctly, from CMLL. We've got Orange Cassidy versus Zack Sabre Jr. We have got the Scissor Ace versus the Elite. We've got, of course, Mercedes Moné versus Stephanie Vaquer in a champion versus champion winner takes all match. We've got Toni Storm against Mina Shirakawa. And of course, last but not least, we've got the AEW World Championship on the line. Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay, and that's a mega card we've got there for you. But I'll tell you what, I've got a mega guest with me, one name I shouldn't be butchering on this stream. Of course, it's the one, the only Mr. Mekz WrestleManiac UK in the house. Mekz, thanks for joining us. Hope you're doing well, my friend.
I'm doing good, man. Always good times when I get invited over here to do these predictions or the Q&A shows. And yeah, this is a big show this weekend. So glad to be able to give my 2 pence, rightly or wrongly, for what's going to happen this weekend.
Absolutely. Well, it's a big card. So we've just gone through all of them there. And first question I should ask you is your excitement levels between 1 and 10 for Forbidden Door this year.
Excitement levels currently, I would say, is maybe 6 or 7. I feel like this is a bit of just I was about to say dream match kind of show, but I think more and more in the last 2 years where these rosters have become almost the same, the dream matches have disappeared because those crossovers between AEW and New Japan, like they all work for AEW now anyway. So I'll say right now 6, 7 on the night, probably be up to about an 8 or so. But yeah, one thing that AEW always deliver is good wrestling matches, very good wrestling matches. Like they say, it's where the best wrestle. So yeah, I'll be up for it on the night. But right now I'm just like, all right, let's just get there.
Let's see where we go. I'm kind of in the same boat as you a little bit because obviously Forbidden Door, the last couple of times they've done it, I've only been, some of the best pay-per-views of the year. Like they've always delivered each and every time. But I would turn around and say this year is the first year I'd say, oh, hang on. Like you said, the dream matches, they're not quite there. In fact, AEW have poached quite a lot of New Japan's talent in the last 12 months. The likes of Ospreay, we're talking about Carter's over there now, and they've had obviously Jay White already for 12 months. So there is becoming less of those dream names. There's big matches already taking place in AEW, but still, now we've got the additions of CMLL and Stardom included in this as well as to spruce it up a little bit. But I just give my number, I'm going to say a 7 out of 10 as well. But my question to you, Mekz, is thoughts of the addition of CMLL and Stardom in this show?
I think it's necessary for the exact reason that we've said, like rightly or wrongly, AEW have kind of gutted New Japan's top talents. So it's like now those dream matches don't exist. So now we need to kind of, whilst New Japan are kind of reloading with talent, we've got to get some of CMLL's best in to help us, and Stardom as well. Like partnerships are good in wrestling, especially when they're used correctly. So yeah, I would have loved this to always be, open to everyone because it's Forbidden Door. If it's just AEW and New Japan, it's not really a Forbidden Door, is it? It's a partnership event. So yeah, I think this is how it should have always been, and I'd like to see them kind of invite more people in the future, more promotions.
Absolutely. I mean, I kind of feel as well, like you just said there, it's become to the point where more people come to the party. It really does feel Forbidden Door because it's almost like, I don't want to say it's been taken up a notch because for myself personally, I'm not as familiar with CMLL talent. Like I've not really followed that product a lot. I'd see perhaps maybe of I don't know, AAA the odd thing of CMLL, but I don't follow any of the promotions like specifically with intent. So a lot of the talent I've been seeing has been quite fresh and quite new for me. But that's also exciting to see people that I've not seen before, if you know what I mean. But at the same time, I'm quite intrigued to see how it's all going to blend out into this one show, because there are a lot of matches here, and hopefully one or two matches could surprise me to what I'm expecting when I come to see the show. Which actually leads me to the next question for you: is what match you are most looking forward to on this show?
I think I'm looking forward to the ladder match. Like the little kid in me can't shake a ladder match. Like it doesn't matter who's in it. Like as long as the ladder's involved and there's something hanging from the ceiling, I'm always going to be invested, no matter what promotion, whatever is hanging from there. I'll always be invested in a ladder match. I think we've got a good one on the night with the Field that looks to be filling it out. That and the world title match, Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland. There's a lot, because I know people are looking down the line at All In and what could come out from the Owen and who could go in there, and there's just a lot kind of riding on this. I think it's a bit more clear cut than people think. However, I understand why people probably think who's going to walk out as champion, but yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about that later.
We will do indeed. It'll be the main event, obviously, of our stream today, Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay. And there are a few questions, actually, I'm dying to ask you about that, probably for the same reasons you just hinted at right there. But to be a little bit out of left field for me, because obviously you could easily say Swerve versus Ospreay. It does feel like probably the biggest match AEW could put on right now. The ladder match, like you say, I'm quite invested in that as well. But I'm really enjoying Shirakawa in AEW, and I'm actually really enjoying the storyline with Toni Storm, the Mariah May being stuck in the middle. For me, I think they've played that story out really well over the last number of weeks. It's really been one that's been building.
I would agree. I think I said on Twitter today, I think it's the best story on TV right now for AEW. I think it's the best story ever that they've done in their women's division. We can kind of already see where it's heading. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. They've told the story very well. I think Mariah May has played her part in this story very, very well. Toni Storm has been brilliant. And the likes of Mina, Shirakawa that you mentioned, has come in and I would like to think earned herself a job at the end of this little run, because she's been brilliant. We always talk about that transition of especially talents from the Far East and can they make it on American TV and stuff like that. I think she's someone that's shown, yeah, she's got more than just, hey, I'm Japanese wrestler that can wrestle. Like she's got the comedic chops, she's got really good charisma to her. So I assume her run would probably end at the end of this particular story, but definitely someone that should be, having a place on AEW more often than not.
Absolutely. Hashtag we want Mina. And I'm actually going to add that sentiment there. Obviously, like you say, I think she's got the it factor. I think she's got something that would definitely offer something different. She's got a lot of personality. I think could really get over with the AEW audience on a long-term basis. But let's go into the comments, because we have a few that have come flying in already. We've got Sid in house. Sid, thank you for joining us. We've got Daz asking why we're not getting the tag titles match here. Honestly, we have them in the trios match. Mekz, I'm guessing it's All In.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to be up against the Beyond Bucks? The Acclaimed. I mean, yeah, I guess they've pinned them, so yeah, you would think so. I'm just thinking about Motor City Machine Gun as well. It seems like they're signed. That would be a massive match for All In as well. So yeah, we'll see. But definitely, I guess, like you're right, the Acclaimed are in the driving seat for that.
Yeah, they won the trios titles, didn't they, at Wembley last year? So that could be like a little place where it's like we want to win it on the biggest stage possible. But we'll see how they do it. But Two Sweet Carl from On the Mark Wrestling Podcast in house, he says, unfortunately for him, 1 out of 10. Wish it was higher, but I can't get into a lot of the build just because I'm so unfamiliar with the talent outside of WWE and AEW, which I think is a fair thing. Should AEW be doing more to people that are not as familiar with those talents to get us invested in them? Perhaps more. We're getting video packages for some of them, but should there be more done than what we're getting?
It sounds like Too Sweet Kyle isn't a sicko, because Tony Khan makes wrestling for the sickos. So I guess he expects you to know these people, Kyle. But jokes aside, I think it's one of them ones where it's just this is the season for it. Like, and everyone's been very vocal about, yeah, we need more of an introduction to some of these people. Even if you do know them, it's like, why are they coming to AEW? What's their drive, or whatever the case is? I think it's one of them things where this season, we know it's Forbidden Door season, whomsoever is going to walk through that AEW portal and end up in the ring. So I think by now, wrestling fans could just kind of, you know, let them have it. This is the season where this is the stuff that kind of happens. The rest of the time around the clock, I think, yeah, they 100% should do more of introducing us and making us a bit more familiar with the people. At the same time, I mean, I won't get into it now, but I think this is one of AEW's downfalls, that it's just this there's like 100 different people on TV every week. So how do we ever get invested in, you know, the homegrown people that we should be invested in?
Especially when a lot of them come flying in last minute as well. When there was a segment on Dynamite this past week, we saw Gabe Kidd was there, and we saw obviously the other members of TM, exact same juniors group. So I forget the initials there, the group at this moment.
TMDK.
That's it, TMDK, thank you. And obviously then you got Ishii as well, makes his appearance. It's just all of that happening in such a quick space in one segment. Just felt like, oh, okay, that's quite a lot to take in one go. But I can understand that from his perspective. And so, but he has said, Mina and Toni, it would be the choice. That sort of story has sold me. Hashtag we want Mina. I want to see many of those in the comments during this stream. And of course, on the OTM has said, subscribe to SCW. These guys are always top notch. Thank you very much for that. Appreciated indeed. Also, subscribe to WrestleManiac UK as well. I will drop the link of his channel in the video at the end here. Of course, if you're watching on X, then feel free to jump onto the YouTube side as well. I'll drop a link in the tweet in a couple of moments' time. But one last question, and we're going to start getting to predictions. We're 11 minutes in. We've not even done a match yet. What do we think will be the best match of the show?
The best match? I think any match that Ospreay's part of, you know, tends to steal the show. The ladder match, like I mentioned before as well, could be very good. I think Toni Storm as well. Toni Storm, Mina could do really, really well if they give it time. I think that's where they kind of robbed Toni Storm's title reign in recent times. They haven't been giving her that long matches, although she's telling a great story. And the other match, I would say Orange Cassidy and ZSJ. If anything's going to be like the sleeper match that people sleep on, I think there could be that one. Orange Cassidy is a great performer. ZSJ is fantastic. So, yeah. But, I mean, if I have to make one answer, I'll go with the main event, Ospreay and Strickland.
I'm going to go with you as well. Like you say, whenever there's an Ospreay match, it's usually a match of the night candidate. It's hard to look against it. So, but like you say, I mean, Orange Cassidy versus Zack Sabre Jr. could be a sleep one. The match with Kyle O'Reilly was amazing on Dynamite this past week as well. But let's get into some wrestling predictions. That's why you're all here, isn't it? You want to hear who we think are going to win the matches. So what we're going to do, slightly different to usual, because there is about, as I say, about 15 million matches to go through. We've got 3 on 0 hour, so we're going to try and breeze through 0 hour in a few minutes only. So we may be very limited on comments while we do that. So the first one we're going to go through is the Owen Hart, the women's tournament on that side. Quarterfinal, Mariah May versus Saraya. And obviously, Saraya part of the Outcasts, obviously Mariah May, both from the UK as well. They're looking to win this tournament. Winner gets a championship opportunity at All In. Obviously, it would be very fitting for one of those to do that. What do you see with this match? Do you like how they're putting it together? They've had some interactions on Dynamite recently. Who do you see going through?
Yeah, they've done a good job so far with both women. I like this little kind of revival that Saraya's had, although I do think she's going to lose here. So my prediction is Mariah May gets the win. But yeah, I think Saraya is someone now maybe got a bit more confidence. All the kind of the eyes on her have disappeared, and maybe that pressure didn't suit her, sort of thing. She's got her little faction now around her again, has been rebuilt. So yeah, I want them to keep doing stuff with Saraya, and maybe they will, because obviously they've got the London show very, very soon. But I think Mariah May gets the win here.
I can't disagree with any of that. I mean, for me, I've actually enjoyed the build of this. I feel the tournament has got some storylines going through it, which is really nice. We're going to talk about one of those storylines actually for the semi-final in a couple of moments' time. But yeah, I mean, for me, I'm not just going to say Mariah May's going to win this match. I think she's going to win the whole tournament, and that's without giving anything away later in the stream. But all in, she has been the storyline almost, it feels, for quite a while. And now, obviously, now she's in the middle of a storyline that we're going to talk about later on. But I think that there could be some fun in this match where we could see Mina and Toni potentially at ringside. I can't just see it just being Luther, but of course, the Outcast, I imagine, will be there at ringside as well. Obviously, we've got Harley Cameron, and now Anna Jay seems to have joined in on the group as well. But we'll see how it goes. But it looks like we're both agreeing that with Mariah May to pick up the win. So we'll move on in the meantime next into our next buy-in match, and this is why I'm probably going to butcher my first names on the stream tonight. We've got Willow Nightingale and Tam Nakano versus Kris Statlander and Momo Watanabe. I hope I've said that right. And obviously those two women, I believe, are from Stardom. Mekz, are you familiar with the two other ladies that have been added to this match from Stardom?
Tam Nakambo, I know about. Yeah, I think Tam is a great talent, and we're probably going to see some of her best bits within this match. To go for prediction, I think Kris Statlander and Momo are going to win. I think we're still going to kind of be building up Stat and driving the wedge in between her and Willow. That's the real story here. And then I think you were just referring to it. Those two are going to meet in the Owen tournament for the women as well. So I think maybe that's where Willow gets the big win.
It feels like that could be the direction. I'm going to have to agree with that prediction. But I mean, obviously, I feel like I might have seen Nakano on a Wrestle Kingdom show. I believe that they did have like a Stardom women's match, not over this year or maybe last year. I feel like
about 3 years ago now.
Is it that long ago? God, time flies by, doesn't it? But I will ask, though, because I am enjoying Kris Statlander's heel turn, obviously, with Stokely as well. He's obviously a menace as always on the mic when he can be. Are you enjoying that storyline with Willow right now?
Yeah, like these two do great work with each other. And I think we've seen that they built up a relationship on TV. The relationship broke down. I still do think that there would have been a lot more money and intrigue if Mercedes came in, had her first match against Willow and lost. And it would have been great to see how now the CEO deals with loss and the big debut and stuff like that. And then maybe, if it was a thing where Willow could have kind of been propelled into superstardom and then Kris Statlander gets jealous like that way, rather than, I guess it's still a bit of an unexplained way of why she got mad and kind of turned on Willow. But yeah, I think these two are going to do good work together. When they have their match in the Owen, I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I really think it's going to be great as well, because it feels all of a sudden there's a lot better storylines going on in the women's division in AEW. It's great to see. It's taking a long time to get here. 4 women's matches on this show, by the way. 4 women's matches. Incredible. It's great to see. It really is great to see. And to be honest, and not be disrespectful on the AEW side, but I never thought I'd see the day. So I'm very pleased to see it's here. And hopefully they all get the chance to get time to steal the show as well. But I'm going to agree with your prediction. I think Willow's time comes at a later time. Like you say, it could be in that semi-final match. There's a good chance I'm going to butcher a number of names here, so I'm going to keep this one quite simple. LIJ versus Mystico and the Lucha Bros in a trios match here on the buy-in, and your thoughts here of having the members of LIJ involved here against Mystico and the Lucha Bros.
Yeah, this is a harder one to predict. Like, there's no real running story between any of these guys. I guess LIJ, particularly Yota Tsuji, he is like one of these, how can I put it, like the anointed one. Him, Shota Umino, these are like the next guys New Japan are really trying to make, propel to the top of the card sort of thing. So Tsuji's been very vocal about the fact Moxley's been given the world title and it's not someone from New Japan. And then, of course, the Lucha Brothers, Mystico, they're fantastic best, great entertainers, great in the ring and stuff like that. I think I go with the Lucha Bros win here. Just feel good, let the home side in that effect win. LIJ, yeah, they got a win via DQ, was it last night on Dynamite? So yeah, they've got their win in the US. They can go back home happy, and let's get a big pop for Lucha Bros getting a win, I think.
I'd love to see that. If I had my wants, I want to see the Lucha Bros get some wins in AEW, because I feel like they're they always get like a little bit of a spell where they're being pushed, and all of a sudden, just the rug gets pulled beneath them. They fall back down the pecking order very quickly. Where I think if they were given a chance to get the real momentum, they could really get to the top and do something. But I can't look past the rumors going around that Pentagon's deal is up soon, and he has been potentially looking with eyes elsewhere. Obviously, don't know if he'll stay or not. And you said there are some members here in LIJ, which I'm familiar with. The names, just can't pronounce them very well. That could be some of the next top guys in New Japan. So I'm going to go with LIJ to pick up the win here, just because I think that they have a chance then to have a breakout moment, if you want, on US Soul, getting a pinfall win rather than just having, just a simple like DQ win. And obviously, Takahashi's also awesome in the ring, by the way. So I'm looking forward to seeing him mix up, particularly with Phoenix and Penta.
Yeah.
Should be good. Well, that's the 0 hour, I think, then wrapped up from us there in fairly quick fashion. I think what we could do at this point. We've got a couple of comments here. Daz going for the Lucha Bros to win, also for Willow and for Tam Nakano to win as well. He also went for Saraya to win over Mariah May as well. We've been asked, do we know when Britt Baker will return to AEW? My answer to that is, unfortunately, I do not.
I don't know for certain, but I wouldn't be surprised if she turns up on Wednesday. This is out the way, and then it's like we bring her back to TV. We're building towards All In at that point, and I think the biggest match they could potentially do away from what Toni Storm is probably doing, because like you said, it looks like Mariah May is going to be the one to face Toni Storm. I reckon if they give us a program between Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker for the TBS title and probably the New Japan one, that could probably be the biggest thing they do going into All In. So two really good like TV characters, I reckon. So yeah, I reckon she probably returns pretty much immediately after Forbidden Door.
I'd love that. I would love that. I don't know if it will or won't, but I tell you what, Mekz, if what you just said comes out to happen there, I will be a very happy man, because there'll be a massive match going in to All In. Speaking of All In, Zayn is going to All In. Zayn, hope you have a fantastic time. Ask if either of us are going to All In this year. Mekz, will you be attending?
I plan to attend, but I can't lie, the excitement isn't there yet. So I haven't prepared. I haven't got my ticket or anything like that. This time last year, obviously, first time ever in London, like on your doorstep. How can you not go, sort of thing? Like I had my ticket already. Funny enough, better tickets became available, I think 24 hours before the show. So I bought tickets again, and I was like, I had floor seats basically, which were incredible. But yeah, it's just not there yet. But like I say, it's on my doorstep. How can I not go? So maybe I'll be there. Most likely I'll be there. But yeah.
It's close enough to me compared to everywhere else that they do their shows usually, but unfortunately it would be a flight for me. Last year, I only was going to the show literally about 1 to 2 weeks before the show happened. That's how tight it was for me going to the show or not going to the show. This year, it's looking unlikely I will go at the moment again. So I'm going to say no for now. But I hope, Zayn, you have an amazing time when you do attend there, Mekz. I'm sure if you do get the opportunity to go again, it will be awesome. Daz, you've teed this up, so I'm going to have to ask this question before we go on to the main show. Then where do you think we see Hangman next? Maybe a wild card?
Yep. I didn't see that one come in. We were actually discussing this the other day on the Wrestling's podcast, and I was like, oh my God, it's gotta be. Like, it's actually gotta be him at that point. And with the Elite almost being like this, the corporation sort of thing, it's like they're bringing in their guy. Hangman's always been their guy. He's got this everlasting beef with Swerve Strickland. And yeah, I think it's Hangman, and he goes all the way.
Yeah, I think it's Hangman's to lose. They've set a narrative of the storyline there, and it looks like I think that they will get their way. But let's see how it will work out. But Jonesy asking, will this be a 5-hour pay-per-view? Certainly looking likely, Jonesy, but thankfully for you, this is not going to be a 5-hour stream. So you can sit back, relax, get tight, and look forward to us discussing Forbidden Doors. We've done the buy-in. Let's go into what will be the main show. And I thought we would kick things off with the ladder match. That's right. One of the matches that Mekz is most looking forward to. As you can see on the screen there, we've got 5 names confirmed at the time. Dante Martin, Mark Briscoe has been killing the promos as of late. Konosuke Takeshita, we've got the scapegoat Jack Perry. Leo Rush is in the building for this one. And potentially, it looks like we could get AR Fox or El Phantasmo taking the last spot. Those two will compete on Rampage for the final slots. So without further ado, then, Mekz, your excitement for the ladder match is there. Who's taking your fancy to potentially become the next AEW TNT champion?
I think it's definitely out of Takeshita and Jack Perry. I think those are the two people that this comes down to. Takeshita, whether it was kayfabe or not, has made some noise rumblings about, you know, not getting enough opportunities in AEW. Every time, you know, he's almost doing well. Again, that thing like you mentioned before, the rug gets pulled out from underneath you. They go with someone else. They don't give you opportunity. And I don't think they want to be known almost like WWE as the company that doesn't give Japanese talents opportunities or whatever the case may be. So this could be a crowning moment for Takeshita. On the other hand, Jack Perry, again, he's a product of the corporation of the elite, especially if we are going towards an elite that has all the belts sort of thing. Yeah, I think Jack Perry is a real like contender to go home from with the title here. So if you're to nail me down, I think I'll go with Jack Perry. I think the safe money's on Jack Perry.
It looks like it could be. Look, let's be honest here. You've mentioned the two favorites of this match here. Obviously, Briscoe has been incredible in ladder matches. I mean, if you look back in Ring of Honor days with Ladder Wars, for example, he's done some great stuff in this. It's great to see him involved in this current Ring of Honor champion as well. But Dante Martin, obviously, we know he'll be one of the spot junkies in this match. Leo Rush can do that as well. He's been doing incredible work in the last sort of 12 to 24 months of his career. But like you say, when it comes down to the favorites here, obviously, it could be. I mean, if Phantasmo or Fox are in it, I would imagine they would be the same like spot sort of, you know, person as well, doing the jumps off the ladders and stuff. But Takeshita, like you say, is a favorite, same as Jack Perry. But I'm gonna say that Jack Perry's gonna be the guy, and the pure reason is simple. I think, unfortunately, I think the Bucks might have spoiled a little bit this week, but the story's there. But they've said they want to be the ones with all the gold. Well, if the person going for the wild card is going to go for the AEW World title, they're going to have all the collection of the other championships. All the other members need to have gold, so the scapegoat needs to do it. And of course, the scapegoat did help the Young Bucks win the tag team championships in a ladder match earlier this year. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some assistance in this as well. But either way, Jack Perry to be the prediction.
Yeah.
Let's see what our comments have got to say. In fact, because we'll start to go a bit more with comments on this one. Daz has gone for Mark Briscoe for the win for this one. I would love to see it. Would love to see Briscoe pick up the win if it was possible on this one. He's been doing great stuff recently. Let's see Kyle O'Reilly trying to mimic his promo skills as well. That was quite entertaining this past week on Dynamite. We've also been Roger's just saying he's just disappointed Thunder Rosa is not on Forbidden Door. There's always a chance that one more match could be added though on the what's it called, the buy-in, the 0 hour, so don't rule out just yet. And Sid here saying, do you think if Natalia leaves WWE, do you think AEW will sign her?
No. Or to be fair, they might, but then I don't see her getting too much TV time. Like, look how surprised we are that the amount of women's matches are on the 0 hour and the main card here. Like, I think, you know, we could be moving to a time where that becomes a norm, which would be good for the women. But I just think at this point, Natalia is I've always thought she's going to become a legend in this industry for everything that's not wrestling on TV in the most respectful way possible. I think, like, I spoke to Gabe Kidd not too long ago, and he had nothing but good things to say about her for her training and helping young wrestlers and all of that stuff, and running the Dungeon 2.0 with her husband. And but it's just nothing like I feel like the current products have just passed her by at a time when she was the best in like the 2010s and stuff. She's like, she had to dumb herself down for the diva kind of stuff. And now it's kind of got back up in women's wrestling, and they've taken a new direction with that. She can't get there, or the damage is done to her character, sort of things, which is a shame. But yeah, I think she probably just renews a deal with WWE and stays on there.
I've always seen her as a WWE lifer. I know there's been a bit of speculation today. I think that's why the questions come in. I think it would be silly for AEW not to sign her personally if she was to become available, because of the fact, like you said, that she can help the younger talent. She can help all the people that have perhaps not had that experience behind them. Natalia is a very good worker to help with. And I mean, I would perhaps argue, like you said there, perhaps with what she's had to do in the 2010s, maybe Natalia just was in the wrong era. Unfortunately, she'd have been around, like, coming through the ranks now. I think it could have been a very different story. And I think she does get a lot of slack, unfortunately, but I think she'll hopefully be respected more when she is when the boots are hung up, if you want. But we'll see what happens with it. That's an interesting question indeed. Thanks for it. But Mekz and I are giving our predictions then for Forbidden Door. Thanks everyone that's watching so far. We're half an hour into the stream. We've got 47 viewers watching live right now, so thank you all for tuning in. If you're watching on the YouTube side, hit the like button, share with a friend, subscribe as well. Get those numbers up also for this channel on YouTube. It really helps on the algorithm. If you're watching on X as well, then feel free to hit that, the heart, hit the retweet. Let's try and spread this out and see if we can get more people checking this out, because believe it or not, just hitting the like button, just sharing it as well, it actually really helps the channel go a long way. So if you enjoyed this content, it just ensures that we keep doing more. And why wouldn't you want more when we're talking about this as our next match? It is Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi. I cannot speak at the moment. But Owen Hart Foundation tournament for the men. I said I'd butcher some names in this one. I didn't think Takagi would be one of them, but hey, we're here. It's happened. For me, this feels like one of the dream matches on the show that we could get from an AEW versus New Japan perspective. And Shingo, to be fair, I think in previous years for Forbidden Door, has probably had the door slammed shut in his face a few times, but I feel this year he's got a proper match rather than being stuck on 0 hours. So I'm quite looking forward to this one.
I totally forgot about this match when you were saying, what's the ones you're looking forward to. This is without doubt something I'm looking forward to the most. Yeah, so much so I forgot about it. But yeah, I swear I'm looking forward to this match. Yeah, this is American Dragon versus someone that calls himself the Japanese Dragon. So I think a lot of fans have kind of wanted this for some Forbidden Doors ago, sort of thing. But we get it now. We're getting it in the Owen Hart Cup tournament, where Danielson has kind of made it seem like he wants to win this, and people are speculating that All In is going to be his last kind of big show before he kind of goes to more of a part-time role. And Shingo's also said he wants to win this. So it's interesting. Both men have kind of come out and said that. In terms of a winner, I have to go with Danielson. I know he tends to like losing, which is that's his prerogative, but yeah, I think for this, we're saying, we're trying to build All In with this tournament. So I think Danielson gets the win here and progresses in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, how bad of us that we didn't say this could be the match of the night when we were asked that question earlier on. It just, for some reason, slipped under the radar. Maybe because it's the first round in the tournament rather than being a later match in the tournament. I don't know, but we have had, obviously, Owen Hart tournament matches take place on Forbidden Door previously. CM Punk was on one a couple of years ago, believe it or not. But anyway, to go on to point here, obviously, we mentioned a wild card earlier on, potentially being Hangman Adam Page, obviously, potentially being on the final one side of the bracket. I think Danielson will meet him on the other side in the final of this bracket. So I think Danielson is going to pick up the win here. But damn, we could have a classic on our hands in the meantime. Pretty much looking forward to this match. And we're going to go diving into the comments once again. We've also got Brian to win. Sid asking what the worst match will be. Sid, I can't give you a good answer on that one, my friend. All of them, I'm sure, will be at least decent, if not good. We've been asked by Jonesy, does Ricochet turn up at this event or Dijak? Dijak effectively could. His contract is done. I don't know if Ricochet's deal is officially up yet, but he's off of TV until it is. Do you see either man turning up at this event?
I mean, if they really want to live up to the Forbidden Door name, then Dijak should turn up on Sunday night. Like, I don't know where they get him involved, because everything pretty much seems set. Neither do I think Dijak should actually sign to AEW, but for the love of professional wrestling, for the pop, for the moment, I think they should they could possibly find a place where Dijak walks through that door as his contract is up tomorrow midnight. Basically, Sunday he's a free man. He can go in there, no qualms. So yeah, it'll be very fun to see. But I think Dijak to AEW is a different discussion that I'm not for.
No, I would think, I don't know. I feel I want to see Dijak just destroy the indies, and I want to see him like go, like, for example, New Japan. I think it'd be awesome to see him do some stuff over there. I wouldn't be against TNA as well. I would worry he'd get lost in AEW as well, and that's not fair to say. But it's just they have so much talent, they have so many names in the books, and there's already like we don't see some people week in week out. So I feel like it's just nice if we get the roster stays as it is, but like you say, the idea of Dijak turning up at this show would be fantastic. Particularly, for example, if he was to help someone on one of the other shows' side, for example, to go against AEW, sort of like, you know, this is the side I'm on right now. I'm New Japan guy. I'm this guy. I think that would be pretty cool to see. But it's a fascinating one. But yeah, Dijak, I mean, perhaps maybe we could ratio the world. Who knows? There's certainly the potential now at this point. But we're going to move on in the meantime. And I mentioned, obviously, we'll be talking about championships on this show as well. So let's talk about the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. John Moxley, unfortunately, can't do it the Justin Roberts way, will be taking on Tetsuya Naito. And I believe this is a rematch from April when Moxley won the championship. Battle Royale, if I'm not mistaken, is the name of the show. And when he did so this is rematch territory. Naito did win the championship, if I'm not mistaken, at Wrestle Kingdom in January, if that's if I'm not mistaken. So this should be fun. Obviously, these two are no strangers to one another and should deliver a good match.
Yeah. What can I say? I mean, I would love Moxley to retain, but for some reason, it looks like everything's pointing at Naito taking the title back from him. Like we mentioned before, there's been a lot of uproar that, you know, someone from outside the company is coming and taking their title, even though I think it's completely necessary because they need to get their ducks in a row in Japan. Naito also, I think, added a stipulation that if he doesn't win this match, then John Moxley can take his place in the G1. The G1 tournament happening in New Japan. So it's like, ultimately, he'll be giving up his place in the larger tournament, which determines a number one contender for Wrestle Kingdom anyway, sort of thing. So yeah, I don't think that's going to be happening. So yeah, I think Naito for the win. Moxley can afford to lose. Like he's Moxley, he's bulletproof, really. Yeah, not my favorite result, but I think that's probably what happens.
It's interesting because I really felt Moxley was just going to win this one. Obviously, he won the title a little while ago, and like you say, with the rematch, and if there is uproar, fair enough. But would it make a better viewing for a New Japan fan to see Moxley lose this championship in Japan rather than in the States?
Possibly. Depends, you know, how wedded to the idea they are. Ideally, I wanted Moxley to hold this title till Wrestle Kingdom. Shota Umino, who again we mentioned earlier, is like Moxley's his young boy sort of thing. Like Moxley kind of coached him through when he came through as a young lion and he went on excursion and stuff like that. So ideally, you would love like a scenario where Shota Umino, the guy they want to make like the next Tanahashi, he faces Moxley for the title, you know, the good old teacher versus student sort of thing, and Umino beats him at Wrestle Kingdom, the biggest stage, on the 4th of January. But I don't know. I don't think they know what they're doing with their booking. If Moxley retains, I think, oh, cool, that's probably where we're gonna go then. But I just can't see anyone but Naito winning here.
Interesting. I'm going to keep an eye out for that now. And obviously, knowing those added bits of stipulation does add more intrigue to this match for me personally. Obviously, I just was like, okay, it's a rematch for the title. Let's see how it goes. Moxley probably retains. So now I know all this, it feels like it could blow up either way, but I will keep with a Moxley prediction for now. But we'll move on in the meantime, and we're going to talk about AEW versus CMLL. We've got MJF taking on Hekikero. Hope I'm saying that correctly. Unfortunately, I do not watch that much Collision. Just does not really fit enough time in the radar to see Collision. I'll see clips here and there. How badly have I butchered that name?
You were nearly there. Hechicero. That's how they've
There
been
we
saying it on American TV anyway. You might be right, to be honest, in terms of Spanish point of view. But yeah, Hechicero is what they've been calling him.
Unfortunately, as far as it goes for me, is like una cerveza, por favor, is usually as good as my Spanish gets, which, of course, for those who are wondering, is a beer. But MJF, of course, has been his salty best on the microphone, but not really given too much into this, I don't feel. I mean, obviously, he did say that Hichichero has had basically has a comic book or a really badly designed mask is basically about as far as we've got into this. Is there much into this match? Is it just simply a simple MJF win, or could this potentially be a sleeper match on the card?
It could be a sleeper match. Obviously, we know how good MJF is. And Hechicero has been probably one of the standouts, I would say, from the CMLL guys coming onto AEW TV. He's found a place within the faction. Was it Gates of Agony or whatever, Cage of Agony, whatever they call themselves. So he's definitely been a bit of a standout. Great performances as well. I think he lost to Danielson when Danielson faced him, but very good match again. I think he loses here, and this is nothing but rebuilding MJF. I believe Forbidden Door is in MJF's neck of the woods as well, Long Island, New York. So they tend to give their own wins in their back garden. So yeah, not much going into this in terms of story, like you said. I think this is just simply MJF getting a win and building up that momentum again.
It seems like it. Obviously, we're all in on the way as well. They're starting stuff with Daniel Garcia, teases Will Ospreay. So, but weird enough as well. Forgive me if I'm because we know we have the tunnel, we have the entrance ways, the two tunnels in AEW. Obviously, we had a moment yesterday with MJF. We had the good chat with Daniel Garcia, seeing him as the future, wanting the match with All In, but it felt like he was upstaged by Ospreay with the fact that Ospreay made the challenge for next week, but not just one title, two titles, then becomes the biggest match for Garcia rather than a match with MJF. And you can see MJF was a bit upset with that. Did he walk up the hill tunnel when he was leaving ringside? It looked like he went up the bad side. Could MJF be going back to the bad guy again?
They didn't actually show us on TV, did they? Because they showed him leaving the ring, and then the camera just was like on Daniel Garcia, and I don't remember seeing which tunnel if he worked in, if the shot was that wide. But I think he needs to be a bad guy because that's where he does his best work. This kind of tweener stuff, the pandering, the babyface stuff, like he was doing stuff like in his promo last night of was he promoting a t-shirt or promoting something and said, oh, enough shilling sort of thing, which the crowd enjoy. But at the same time, I think this isn't his best work when he's just a nasty, dastardly, rude person. Like, I think that's what he needs to return. I think he's lost a lot of faith with fans, like from the whole world title stuff with Samoa Joe, Jay White, Adam Cole stuff. I think he's lost a lot. Like, a lot of people still love him, don't get me wrong, but I think he's lost a lot of faith with fans. They don't want to see that kind of stuff. They just want, wrestling, good wrestling, not the kind of jokey kind of MJF. So I hope he returns to a heel just to kind of let him refine himself and do some of his best work again.
Absolutely. I mean, I did see him go out one of the tunnels, and I believe it was the bad guy tunnel. And I thought to myself, I wonder if that is a sign of things to come, because I kind of agree with you. I feel like I enjoy it. MJF is still one of the highlights for me. I missed him when he wasn't around. I'm so happy that he's back. I think when he's on the mic, whether it's good or bad, I do enjoy his work, but I do feel that he does better work as a heel. And I feel like you said that the damage that's been done, especially when it comes to the Adam Cole, the Undisputed Kingdom stuff as well, the way that they couldn't finish that storyline properly. The fact that when MJF even made his return, they pretty much had to just make Adam Cole look completely scared and just, well, Cole's not going to be around for a while anyway, so we can make him look bad here just so MJF can move on. And now we're just trying to get him as far away from that as possible. Maybe the heel is the right way to go. But MJF certainly for the win, I think, is possibly the easiest prediction on this show, would you say?
Probably, yeah, probably.
Feels like it's the easiest one to make. Let's go into a few comments, because we've not gone to some comments for a couple of moments, but we've got MJF for the win here. We've been asked about, do you like Dean Ambrose or Jon Moxley better? Interesting.
I think Moxley, definitely. I think, to be honest, like, you needed Dean Ambrose though to get to Jon Moxley. And yeah, we could just see him kind of flourishing here. It'll be weird to see him go back to kind of wacky, what did they used to call him? Unstable Dean Ambrose or whatever.
Lunatic fringe as well, wasn't it?
Lunatic fringe, like
yeah.
crazy.
I don't want to see Mitch the Plant Pot ever again. Like, you know, that for me, and this is something I would say, if Moxley was ever signed to go back to WWE ever, and it's a big if, that one, I think he goes in as Moxley. I don't think there's money on the table for Ambrose anymore. I think that character went as far as it could. It got buried on the way out. I think Moxley is the money. And for me, I much prefer John Moxley. I just feel everything you see with Moxley just feels legitimate, where I just felt like I got a bit wound up with the goofiness that Ambrose was about at times, because you could see that the craziness of Moxley was in there back then. And like you say, we probably needed to go through that for it to break out properly. But moving on to it. Go on, add to it. Sorry, mate.
No,
Apologies.
I was just gonna say, like, I think he always had kind of John Moxley in him, and maybe when he would maybe be pitching ideas, it's just that crazy guy called Vince would be like, "No, like you're crazy, like yeah, like I like it, but then go too far with it," sort of thing. So he ended up being, you know, the lunatic fringe or whatever. I mean, like you mentioned, if he ever does go back to WWE, I think he could very much go as Dean Ambrose, but character is John Moxley, as opposed to his name is Dean Ambrose and he behaves like Dean Ambrose.
Absolutely. Are you a fan of Moxley's version of his theme music now, or do you prefer the original that they had?
The original. I don't like Wild Thing. I think it's very kind of sing-alongish and all the stuff, and I don't think that's John Moxley. Like, I felt like that original one when he comes in, it felt like, you know, the kind of, as they say, business has just picked up sort of thing. Like Wild Thing, like it gets everyone singing, and I just don't think it's like, I get why they probably did it, but for that reason, but I don't think it represents Moxley apart from the fact it says Wild Thing.
Yeah. Joe, for the character, I completely agree.
Yeah.
As a personal preference, just because of the fact I like a sing along. I've done some karaoke in my time. I'm a Wild Thing kind of guy. You know, apart from that, but I would agree with you that the original version does fit Mox's character better. Absolutely. We've got 60 live viewers currently, so thank you all for watching right now. If you're watching on the YouTube side, then please hit the like button, share with a friend, and subscribe as well. It really helps the algorithm on the channel. And as well, if you're watching on X, thank you all for watching and taking the time as well. Something new we've been doing recently on this platform. Please hit that you enjoy this with the heart and also the retweet. Just helps us go out a little bit further into the wacky world of the wrestling community. And of course, any help is always greatly appreciated. It takes a couple of seconds and doesn't cost anything. And also, you can subscribe to WrestleManiac UK as well. I'll be dropping the link to his channel, of course, at the end on the YouTube side, and I will also do so on X also. But we'll move on in the meantime, and we're going to go for what could be a sleeper match of the card once again, because there are quite a few of them on this show, but this is one we actually called out earlier. It's Orange Cassidy versus Zack Sabre Jr. To be honest, I mean, we look back at a couple of years ago, the first Forbidden Door. Orange Cassidy was the selected opponent against Will Ospreay, and what an incredible mesh they had together. Zack Sabre Jr. Is someone that is by far one of the best technical wrestlers in the world, and I think he'll mesh very well with Orange Cassidy. And this one sort of plays into last year as well, because these two were sort of bickering at Forbidden Door last year. I remember quite vividly Zack Sabre Jr. potentially, well, quite frequently calling Orange Cassidy ginger bollocks. So I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing that happen again. But your thoughts of Cassidy versus Sabre Jr.?
Yeah, another one of these kind of meshes of styles, like you mentioned rightly. Cassidy versus Ospreay was world class in the end, and people didn't see that coming. I sure didn't. I think this is definitely, you know, got to go down that same lane. Cassidy, Zack Sabre Jr., this kind of unorthodox style of Cassidy, sloth-like at times, to then a complete technical masterclass master with Zack Sabre Jr., one of the best in the world when it comes to that style. So I do think Zack Sabre Jr. is going to get the win. I think he's another one that he's on like the trajectory to maybe being the top guy in New Japan, so when he can build the company around. Him taking a loss here, I don't know why they would want to do that. And I think quite easily you could have the Don Callis family guys, Trent Beretta or someone, get involved to cost Cassidy here, or to make life harder for him. Cassidy, even if he lost clean, doesn't lose anything. He's fan favorite. He'll be absolutely fine. So yeah, I think Zack Sabre Jr. for the win for me.
I really hope you're right. Originally, when I saw this on paper, I was like, Orange Cassidy is my pick to win, but I think you swayed me a little bit, so I'm going to change the prediction here on set because of the fact that I actually really like the idea of the Don Callis family. Don's been looking for new members, and I mean, to be fair, he had someone like Will Ospreay who was coming in from New Japan here and there, doing his favors, doing his bidding. And now that Trent is a part of that group as well, there's still beef with Orange Cassidy. Why not have Sabre Jr. do that? So when he's part of his group in New Japan, he does that. But when he comes over to AEW for a sporadic performance, then why not him be a part of the Don Callis family there? And let's not forget, Wembley Stadium All In is around the corner. Sabre Jr. was not on this show last year. Potentially, he could be this year. Why not?
Yeah. Definitely. He's someone that, you know, AEW could help New Japan raise his profile so that when he does become champion, because that is 100% something that needs to be happening in the very near future, world champion that is, it will be, you know, normalized. It won't be like, oh, who's this kind of mid-carder we're giving the belt and all of this kind of stuff. That, not that anyone thinks that, but yeah, we need to be getting to the point where ZSJ is above the New Japan TV title and all these other tag titles you've given him, the strong titles. You guys need main eventers. This is the top guy right here. Let's do it.
And he's been building for years as well, Zack Sabre Jr. in New Japan's ranks as well. We've seen him like slowly go up the card. It feels each and every year you go to a Wrestle Kingdom, instead of being match 2, he's then match 3, then he's match 4, then it's like it's slowly getting there. He's someone that's got the tools definitely to get towards the top end. Would love to see it. We've got Zack Sabre Jr. as a prediction here from Daz as well. World Elite Podcast in the house. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for joining us. Hope you keep well. They're great on YouTube, also on all audio platforms as well. Roger is hating the finishing time in the UK. Just watch it the next day. That's what I do. But hey, look, to be fair, I don't begrudge anyone wanting to watch it live, and certainly should be a great show to check out live as well. But we will move on in the meantime, and in fact, our next match that we will be talking about, let's get the graphic at the ready, is going to be a trios match. That's right, we've got Hiroshi Tanahashi and the Acclaimed Scissor Ace going against the Elite, of course, Okada and the Young Bucks. This one, interesting, bit last minute thrown together for me. It feels a little bit. I know that the Acclaim did beat the Young Bucks in the tag team match. They've not called their shot yet for when they have that tag team title match. We said at the very beginning of the stream, I think it'll be All In. What do we do in the meantime? Do we have the Scissor Race pick up the win here? But with Okada being in there, Okada's not losing in AEW. So I'm interested to see how this. I think this one's not as straightforward as one may think.
Not at all. Not at all. This one's a difficult one because you've already crowned the what they called the Acclaimed. You've already crowned the Acclaimed as the number 1 contenders. So did they just go in and beat the Bucks again, like to maintain that kind of status, or do the Bucks get a win over this team and it's like, okay, well, we're one apiece sort of thing? And of course, you mentioned obviously Okada's got a clean slate and stuff. What are you thinking for this one?
So what I see is, like you said there, I feel the Acclaimed shouldn't be taking the pinfall. I feel when it comes to the Elite, the Bucks, they've already lost once and don't need to lose again. Okada isn't losing. There's one guy that usually comes over to these shows and usually seems to be happy to take a pinfall and have his shoulders on the mat, and that's Hiroshi Tanahashi. The only problem I have with that, and it's the only problem I have with that, because I think Okada will be the one to pin Hiroshi here, and I think that the Elite will win. So that's my prediction for the Elite. But I just wish that a little bit more was put into this rather than a throwaway for the last second here, because couldn't we have had Hiroshi, who's, you know, like, what he's like the
president.
President, thank you, is the word. It was like, it's not GM, but he's the president, thank you.
Yeah.
Couldn't he have been like, Okada, you left us. You could have stayed with us. We were your home. We could have made a bigger deal with this match, like, because of the fact that, you know, you've decided to go and sell out and be a part of this corporate stooge group of the Elite. You were like the face of New Japan. Here, you're just someone that's a part of a group that's, you know, helping out these two guys who want to keep the tag team titles.
Yeah, you're bang on with that. I didn't even think of that, but 100% they could have, you know, stretched this somewhat. You know, Tanahashi could have maybe come in a week earlier or so, made a save for the Acclaimed, and, you know, cut a promo, something akin to that. Yeah, they just put this together. Tanahashi being president, I think, is, again, like you mentioned, probably one of those reasons why he probably won't mind doing the honors, because he's in the September of his career. Doesn't mean anything. They did reference, obviously, Okada and Tanahashi's rivalry and what they see each other as. Obviously, Okada was the top guy and took that mantle from Tanahashi all those years ago. So yeah, I think you're right on the money that it's basically a low-key Okada versus Tanahashi situation, and Okada gets the win.
Yeah, I think that's the way I'm looking at it, and we'll see if it plays out that way. But certainly be interested to know what people think in the comments below. But we've got the elite for the win from Daz, but we've got more actual other questions that have come flying in with this one. How come Jay White doesn't have a match?
Well, I don't know, man. I hate to do a cheap plug, but I had a video on my channel about Jay White and just AEW, their booking of him in the first year. Well, if you look at it on paper, it's pretty much like, well, you know, he won this, he won that, he was featured well here. But then if you look at it on the whole, it's just like, this guy should be, why isn't he getting treated like Ospreay, like Okada? He was in the same tier with them, you know, where he came from. I think the short answer is Juice Robinson's injury didn't do him any favors and had him doing a lot of stuff with the Bang Bang Gang, the Guns. Now he's out of that. Obviously, he's in the Owen. He got a win the other night against, was it Ray Phoenix he beat?
Yes.
But I don't see him winning the Owen. So yeah, it's very interesting, and we talk about this door of AEW coming in and signing everybody and stuff like that. But the minute they sign the next person, you get pushed down the card almost. So yeah, I think it needs to be kind of studied, Jay White's fall in AEW. But there's nothing for him. There's no reason for him to be on the card, really. So
it's the truth. And to be fair, I'm glad you plugged it, because if you didn't, I would have. It's a fantastic video. I recommend people go to check it out. And it's a very popular video I've seen as well on your channel as well. So do recommend it for those who haven't seen it to check out Mex's Jay White video on WrestleManiac UK. Tony Khan has said Shane McMahon is welcome in AEW at any time. A little bit of tongue in cheek, or is there something to this?
Like, I think, and I know Vince McMahon is just a dastardly human being, like 100%. The fact that even his son has like nothing to do with this company, and he rather kind of gave it to his daughter and her husband, I think that says something. However, I couldn't do this to my dad. I couldn't turn up for the opposition for my dad, even if me and my dad don't get along, which we don't know if that's the case between Vince and Shane. Tony Khan may be trying to stir the pot here somewhat, like, yeah, I'll have a McMahon working for me, because ultimately that's what it is a McMahon working for him. What would Shane add to AEW? I don't know, because whatever he could add to AEW, he can't even add it to WWE. They didn't want him. They pushed him out. So I think this is nothing more than a little trophy to kind of hold up and gloat at. Would it happen? Yeah, hell must have frozen over multiple times if Shane McMahon turns up for AEW, I reckon.
I kind of feel the same. Although the best in the world, where the best wrestle. I'm not sure if that would be a tagline that could work or not. But yeah, some dark times. We don't want to think back to 2019 or 22 or was it even 2018, that Crown Jewel show where Shane McMahon won that. Anyway, for me, I don't want to see it personally happen, but I do think it would be pretty entertaining though, from a side perspective, if Shane did turn up.
If not for nothing, it makes great TV. Like, we'll tune in. They'll get their number up that way.
Absolutely. Maybe Shane McMahon could be the owner of Collision, have him like in Triple H on like what we did with the last Nitro, for example. But it won't happen. Will Goldberg show up at Forbidden Door? We're really clutching at straws now.
I hope he doesn't. I hope they give him the key to some other door which he can't enter. Like, not this one. Just stay away. It's just not needed.
We have enough already on this show. We don't need Goldberg as well. That's all we're going to say with that here. Eric here just says, could be crazy. I feel like Jay White will win the tournament and the title because it feels like his last true opportunity to make people care about him for a while. Fair play, Eric, giving his prediction there to win the Owen Hart tournament to beat Jay White. Unfortunately, we didn't share that prediction.
Yeah, what I do think is that they will kind of put some spotlight on Jay White now that Juice Robinson's back. Jay White came very close to being a finalist in the Continental Classic at the end of last year. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins it and subsequently becomes Continental champion, because I think that's the only way Okada loses this. I don't think he's going to get pinned for that title. I think he's just not going to get enough points maybe to get onto the Continental Classic, because he's going to be in that to defend it if he's championed that long. So yeah, I think maybe Jay White wins Continental Classic at the end of the year.
That would be good to see. Would be really a fan of that move if they were to do it. Because I'm a big fan of Jay White. I think he should be used more in AEW personally. Now, at the time of recording, we don't entirely know Chris Jericho, his motion for this show. This was the match advertised before the show. Then during Dynamite, it seemed like it could have been Suzuki. Now on Wikipedia, it is offering something else. Now, I won't fill in the final gap because I may have seen the spoiler if there is a 6-man tag team match here. But if this is the match on the direction, the learning tree plus a helping hand against Samoa Joe, Hook, and Tatsuri Shibata in a trios match, who would you see coming out on top?
Now, I must say, and I might get killed for this, because I love Jericho, I love this learning tree stuff. Pops me every time. I find it hilarious. Do I need to see matches off the back of this? No, not on pay-per-view, that's for sure. But like, I know that's how professional wrestling works. Like, you build to matches. This shouldn't be on pay-per-view. I don't care what combination of whoever they pick from whatever learning tree or whatever promotion, this shouldn't be on the pay-per-view. Neither should Jericho versus Suzuki, which obviously, like you mentioned, looked like the direction they'll go in by the end of Dynamite. The fact that there has been 3 different iterations of this match in the last 24 hours, like, just leave it alone. Forget about it. Take it off the show. Who's gonna win? I would say Joe, Hook, and Shibata. I'll go with them. But this is at best, respectfully, a Rampage main event. Like, honestly.
Not even Collision, this like Rampage.
Not even Collision. This is a Rampage main event.
Bring back Elevation. Yeah, no, to be honest, Honor Club? No, to be honest with me, I'm going to be say with the learning tree stuff, hit and miss with me. I really was not liking it at the start. Then I really got into it when we had like the TV time with Chris Jericho and Big Bill in the ring. I love Brian Keith's involvement with the group because of the fact, like, the other two are very cheesy, old Bo Dallas, like, Bo Lee kind of stuff in 2014. And Keith is just like, no. You give respect to Chris Jericho. Do you know, he's like the proper, like, the hard nut of the group. But unfortunately, he's not going to be a part of this match. And all I will say is just a clue is that Jericho has used this person before and it's not Suzuki. So that's the clue I'll give for people rather than say who or what it is. But I'm going to agree with your prediction. I think that Joe, Hook, and Shibata winning because it makes the most sense for the story. But I agree that it does not belong on the show. 0 hour is where I would be putting this match personally, but because it's Jericho, at best. But because it's Jericho, of course, it makes the show. But poor Samoa Joe, who was a world champion a few months ago, is stuck in this.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think it's weird that he hasn't even kind of asked for a rematch at the very least. Like, at least if you're not gonna even get a rematch, you come out making noise saying blah blah blah, I want a rematch, and then someone else will come out and be like, no, you've lost, and then they go off into a program. It's like, he just didn't do that. He dropped the title. It's like, Hook, I get on with him. So it's very weird.
It's a very weird way they've put it together, to be fair. Jamie Hayter, will she return at Forbidden Door?
I don't think Hayter returns this side of, the next few months. I think at best maybe All Out? That is a week after All In Chicago. Could see her there. I think unfortunately she might miss the London show. At best, she might come out after the women's title match and kind of if Mariah May does get the win, then it's like a British standoff between Mariah May and Jamie Hayter. But no, I think Forbidden Door, not looking likely.
No, like you said, all in the appearance there, I think would be the big pop if it was going to happen. I'd love to see a return before, but it's just hard to see at this point. We don't know the extent of how bad that injury is, but it must be bad now because it's been more than a year since we've seen it in ring and on AEW TV. But we'll move on in the meantime. We've got 3 matches left. Thanks to all the 65 people that are currently watching. You're here at the right time because the 3 biggest matches on this show are the ones that are left to discuss. We're going to start off then with winner takes all, title for title, at the TBS champion Mercedes Moné against Stephanie Vaquer at the New Japan Strong Women's Champion. I must admit, wasn't too familiar with Stephanie recently. Haven't seen much of her work, but I've been told she's very good. And this match could really be a show stealer, one I should be excited for. So I am looking forward to it more. The only thing that makes me a bit more soured on this match is that it's winner take all with both championships. Is this just going to be Mercedes Moné adding more titles to her collection?
Yeah, I do feel so. Just on Stephanie Vaquer, like you mentioned, very, very good talent. Mercedes actually beat her on her way to the New Japan Strong final where she got injured and lost that match to Willow. But yes, Stephanie's kind of been someone that since then, the New Japan Strong title wasn't really featured well for the women. Obviously, Willow done her bit, dropped it to Julia, who wasn't too active with the title, and then Stephanie picked up from there, and she's been very good since then. But like you said, with the whole winner takes all situation, you just can't help but think, especially the fact that, like we said, Mercedes got injured in the final. Mercedes was set to be the inaugural New Japan Strong Women's Champion, and she got injured in the final. So it looks like they're course correcting. They're going to give her the title. She'll be the TBS champion as well. She'll be walking around with 2 belts. I feel it's a bit rushed. I don't like course correcting at all in wrestling. Like the minute someone comes back, you just give them the title that they never lost or whatever the story is. Like I really hate that kind of notion. I think the one thing that they can do to make me look forward to doing this with Mercedes is now the CEO has 2 titles. I want some character work out of her, because I'm still waiting to see how this CEO stuff like translates in wrestling, sort of thing. So she's got 2 titles now. She's got a lot of gold. Give me some character and let's build some other stuff around this. But yeah, for me, Mercedes for the win.
Yeah, I think everything it's not really a lot more I can add to it, really. I suppose the only thing I can say is that when you have this Forbidden Door relationship and perhaps maybe having this shared show and perhaps a number of your talents are probably going to eat pinfalls, one thing that could come out on a benefit on the other side is you will have someone like Mercedes Moné who's flying the flag for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship, who is, you know, dare I say, a bigger name in the wrestling world. I would say I wasn't familiar with Stephanie before, but I've heard she's very good. Looking forward to seeing her perform. But I think for me, like you say, if it's going to put the title back on where it's meant to be originally, Mercedes can fly that flag and she can represent both companies for the upcoming sort of few months or so. So I think Mercedes Moné picks up the win here.
Yeah, and it gives her a reason to return to Japan, I think, which is important to New Japan. New Japan started a project with her. You know, some will say they created a whole new IWGP women's title because they knew she was on her way. Kairi Sane was the inaugural champion. Mercedes won it. Then she dropped it. And I don't want to say the title's gone missing. The title's on someone right now, but it's like it's nowhere near as heavily featured as when Mercedes had it. So this gives her a way to go back into Japan, challenge those women in Stardom, and, you know, just help that product like she was supposed to before she got injured.
Yeah, absolutely. Can agree with that completely. Well, let's go into the comments then, and let's go and get some predictions here. Daz going for Mercedes to win. Roger thinks Stephanie will win, so someone's gone against us. I like a sort of clean sweep. That's what I like to see on this. And Bobby in the house, Bobby, are we doing well? Thanks for tuning in. Says, who does Mercedes Moné wrestle next after she wrestles Stephanie? You suggested potentially a Britt Baker match could be on the cards then for All In if she was to return. But if she wasn't to return, could I suggest a name potentially? But the history of Saraya.
Yeah, that would be massive for London as well. That could definitely be something big that they do. Of course, there's still Willow. They can
Cool.
reopen that as well. So yeah, it's, you know, Britt Baker's been off TV for so long, and she is, or at least she was, such a massive part of this women's division before her leave of absence, her injury. So if she is able to come back for your biggest show of the year, I think that's the no-brainer. That's what you have to do, sort of thing. That's a title. Both titles at that point will be something that Britt Baker's never won as well. So yeah, but 100% Saraya, if they do continue to build her and Britt doesn't come back, like I said, I want to see Saraya kind of get back up as she has been. So I would be for that as well.
Absolutely, yeah, I would be for that. Absolutely, also. Roger asking if I can speak the Swedish language. Ask me properly that question again in 6 months' time. I'm very very beginning stages at the minute here. I'll get better. I will get better. Okay, so we can say "ja" for the moment, but yeah,
You
we'll
must
come
be
back.
able to give us a hi. My name is Steve.
Okay, hey, Yarketa Steve. I hope I've done that perfectly correct there. Hope I've not missed a little word out there. But yeah, start getting there a little bit. Start with the very beginning stages. So yeah, I basically as well with my 1-year-old learning as well both languages. I tend to get what she knows as well better. So yeah, well, I'll be better at some point. But we'll move on in the meantime because I'm sure
I'll let
everyone
the
would love me.
1-year-old outdo you, Steve.
Well, she probably is, to be fair. There's no argument in that at this particular moment, but I'm sure all 64 viewers are not here to hear me speak the Swedish language. They are hopefully here to hear us talk about some of the big matches of Forbidden Door, and obviously there's one of them that may not be much bigger than this one. I'm really looking forward to this match, the AEW Women's World Championship at Timeless Toni Storm against Mira Shirakawa, which obviously I'm doing my best to say correctly each and every time, but I will say the hashtag "We Want Mina" early on in this stream because I've got to say I have thoroughly enjoyed her work so far, and like we said earlier, I've got the charisma, got the personality, certainly deserves to be here for the long term. And she has actually come out and said on an AEW exclusive that she isn't just looking to be here for Forbidden Door, she wants to be at Wembley Stadium. So the fact that she's actually said that, do you think there's a chance that could happen?
I think there's a chance she could be at Wembley Stadium. I don't think it would be as AEW Women's World Champion, though. Like we said at the top of this stream, man, this is without doubt the best story going into this and the best story that they're telling on TV right now. They have, you know, characters that have a purpose. We know what they're doing. From the point of, you know, entrance of this story, when Mariah May came and joined Toni Storm when she was the fangirl, look how the tables have turned now. Toni Storm is fighting for Mariah May's attention against her old friend Mina Shirakawa. Mina, Mariah May, and Zaya Brookside from NXT UK, if you guys remember her.
Yes.
They were in a faction over in Stardom called Club Venus, hence why, you know, the Mina's got this affinity with Mariah May. So this is the best story they've told in the women's division, like since the inception of AEW, and the best story that's currently on TV. I think, like we've mentioned and alluded to on the stream, I think Toni Storm retains. I think Toni Storm put Mariah May in the Owen, and that's going to be the downfall. Mariah May is going to work her way through that tournament. She's going to become the #1 contender through that tournament. She's going to face Toni Storm at All In, and I think Mariah May goes on to become AEW Women's World Champion. So yeah, for that to happen, I think Toni Storm retains here. But like we were saying at the top of this, I think Mina deserves a contract. You know, I don't know what her contract status is with Stardom or whatever the case is, but definitely a good TV character that can work as well, that they should be looking to sign to a deal and bring into this blossoming women's division that they've got.
Absolutely, indeed. There's not really much more I can add to this because word for word, I agree with you, obviously. And the other thing I can say is that I think it's a storyline that makes sense going forward here, obviously, because I did really like the way they played this storyline off on Dynamite this past week. Obviously, Mina has said recently to Mariah, "You must choose." Had the drinks where the champagne and cheer and having the cheers moment. Obviously, that's when Mina grabbed the bottle, missed Toni, and obviously took out Mariah May by accident. It's led to the arguments and stuff, and it's an apology. And she's actually put a post on Instagram, I think, today with like, "I didn't mean it," showing up what we saw on Dynamite the night previous. So I think that it's been played really well, but I think this leads to Mariah making her decision, because you can see Mariah May is actually linked with both of these people because she's on the graphic of being in both corners. She's gonna have to pick someone, and she's gonna have to pick someone on this show. So you're right, she's gonna pick Toni Storm because that's the person who has been her protege, her idol, all the rest of it. She's been like the Mickey James, the Trish Stratus kind of gimmick going on for the last 8-9 months in AEW. It'd be weird for her now to go against Timeless Toni Storm at this moment. It would be the right thing for Mariah May to win the Owen Hart tournament. Toni to be proud of her, the fact that she's done that. I know you've earned yourself that championship match against me, and that moment where Toni will probably realize that Mariah May isn't going to lay down for her at All In and they have the proper match. Then when she realizes that Mariah May wins, this could hopefully lead then to something at All Out, because maybe Toni Storm actually they'd have the proper breakup perhaps after this, and it could perhaps ruin Mariah May's moment perhaps at Wembley. That's where you build it to All Out. You could perhaps still have a program for them for another 2-3 months if they want to carry on to Wrestle Dreams. So I think that's the direction. I think it is the right direction as well. I think it makes the most sense. But for me, this is the match I'm most looking forward to on the show, and I'm not going to be apologizing for it whatsoever.
No, I definitely hear you, and you know what? This is what I always say: wrestling is not enough, because you're looking forward to this the most because this is the best well-told story. It's not that this is necessarily going to be a 6-star match or 5-star match. It's because you've got some level of investment from the story going into it, so you want to see how it gets played off. The one thing I will just add to what you said, AEW have this thing where they miss the moment of crowning people. And then they try and scurry and do it 2-3 months later, where the love might still be there, but it wasn't the right place to do it. So, as long as the story keeps going as we say it is, the moment will be to crown Mariah May in London. Don't miss the moment and keep the title on Toni, and then some other nonsense happens and all of a sudden we don't care about the story anymore. Just do the right thing when it's time to do the right thing.
Absolutely. Nigel McGuinness on commentary for it as well.
Yeah, why not? You'll love it.
Absolute menace, and I absolutely love him for it.
Yeah,
but absolutely. Well, that's our thoughts there for that match there for the AEW Women's World Championship. Let's go to the comments once again before we go into the main event. We've got Mina Shirakawa would be a great opponent for Mercedes Moné. Yes, Bobby, I agree. Sign me up for that. I would love that to happen at the back end of this.
Yeah, again, big character Mina's proven to be. We know Mercedes is a big character as well. So even from that point of view, I think it could be good for both of them.
Absolutely. Bobby has gone for Mina to win. Daz has gone for Toni to win. We've been asked if we think there'll be a stipulation in the main event. I suppose we should save that for when we have the main event in a couple of seconds' time. But we've also been asked, will we see Tony Khan have a match in AEW? I think he said adamantly that's never going to happen.
I hope it doesn't happen. I don't mind him as an on-screen GM, which he seemingly doesn't want to do either. But yeah, a match is too far.
Absolutely. I think a match is too far as well. Certainly wouldn't make him either of our favorite male or female wrestler in any company. Mekz, if you had to pick one male, one female as your favorite wrestlers right now in any company, who would it be? It's a tough question.
This is a tough question. Because like when I look at it right now, I don't feel like there's standouts. I think Ospreay, I'm enjoying Ospreay's work and I love how the American crowd have taken to him. But I do feel a bit that he has eclipsed Swerve, and it's not like I'm angry that he's done that, but I feel like we're not seeing Swerve as the top guy because Ospreay is he just radiates top guy with everything he does, sort of thing. Yeah. But I'll say Ospreay. I mean, if he was active on TV, Roman Reigns is my answer all day, every day. But like, I'll go with Ospreay because he's on TV right now. Women's wrestler, I'll go with Toni Storm. because I think Toni Storm is just, she's making a gimmick in AEW of all places work like to a complete T. And like I said, it's for me the best thing in terms of story that AEW produced. So yeah, Toni Storm and Ospreay.
It's hard to argue with either. Ospreay is going to be my male answer. I will give it a different one for the female answer. I think that I've always been a big fan of Io Sky. For me, she's always been a standout performer. So I think Io will be my answer for the women's side. But yeah, I mean, there's so many great performers in all companies. So I don't think you give a wrong answer, whatever you was to give. And we've got here, Bobby just said for him, Mike Bailey for WWE, Obafemi and Carl O'Reilly. Lovely, good stuff indeed. Well, I'll tell you what, we've got 65 viewers watching. Thank you all for watching us here today. And just say, if you're on the YouTube side, hit the like button, share with a friend, and subscribe as well. If you're watching on X, then thank you for watching. Please hit the heart button and retweet as well. It all helps the channel in any way, shape, or form. Every little helps. And of course, we've been growing throughout the stream for everyone that has been getting involved with those likes and retweets and all the stuff. So just say, everyone on the X side, if you want to get involved and want to comment, you can't do it on that side, but you can do it on the YouTube side. So the link is underneath the original video tweet. So if you go now to underneath the tweet, there is a link to just drive in here and you can get involved on the comments for our main event, because our main event, of course, is for the AEW World Championship. It's going to be Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay, champion versus champion, the world champion versus the international champion. And it's the biggest match AEW can do right now, in my personal opinion. But my question is it a show too soon? Should this have been at All In at Wembley?
I definitely think it's too soon. To be fair, if it was at All In, I think I'd be a bit more scared or tentative about what the result could be. I was, until a matter of weeks ago, I was for this particular show as well. I think I've settled my nerves now. Like I just said, Will Ospreay is just so overbearing in the most positive way. Like he's so energetic in everything he does. The crowd absolutely love him. I just feel like you look at this guy and it's like, yeah, why wouldn't you make him your world champion sort of thing? But with Swerve, especially in the last 2 weeks, there was something that he referenced about obviously how he used to be kill shot, and then, if you don't take your shot, I will sort of thing. He told Will to stop messing with him. Will snatched the title from him last night. He gave him a kill shot and, just said, I told you to stop messing with me sort of stuff, innit? With Swerve, I think he seems to be leaning more towards the heel side of things, which I think is better for him. He probably does better work on that side of the scale. I think we go with a Swerve win here. Watching Collision last week when Ospreay had that main event match with Brian Cage, they mentioned his win streak. They mentioned, I think at this point, he's 18-0 since he's come in. So I think this is all kind of stuff that Swerve can be the one to snatch from him. Like, oh my God, Swerve beat Ospreay. He beat that guy that was undefeated sort of thing. And that could really help his title run. I think AEW needs to do more in the way of making him feel like the number one guy there. He's got the big belt, but like I said, it's Ospreay's energy and how they position Ospreay. I'd argue they're not really giving the same to Swerve in that respect. But yeah, I think we go with Swerve here. I think Ospreay will find another dance partner, one of his favorite dance partners, to have a match in at All In.
I feel similar to what you're saying, because this is where I stand on this. I think if Ospreay is to win the world title here, a bit of me just thinks, why is it not done at All In? Like, you don't want him to go into All In as the world champion. You want him to come out of All In as the world champion if you're going to do that. So, and I do feel like this is the biggest match they could do. I think it's weirdly timed. I do feel it should be done later down the line. Yeah. I think there's a purpose for this, and I'm going to be honest, I had a very different prediction 2 minutes ago of Will Ospreay's direction for All In. But while we've been talking, I think I've got an idea of how I think this is going to go, because I agree with you. I think Swerve wins here. I do think he's going to hit the Tiger Driver on Swerve Strickland. It looks like the win is there, because I think he's going to do it because they've said about the kill shot, you do your shot. I think Ospreay now will be tempted to do it now after what's happened, and it is for the world title as well. But I think there's going to be a ref bump. I'm sorry to say it. I know that people probably, it's not a clean win for whoever's going to win here, but we talked about earlier on someone else that may have felt a bit upstaged, and it's his town. He's been out of the main event picture for a while, and he's not going to be happy if Ospreay is defending the international title and world title on Beach Break against Daniel Garcia. I think MJF is going to cost Will Ospreay this match. I think turning heel in the process, although cheered at the time because it's Long Island, he can't be booed in Long Island. I think it sets up Ospreay versus MJF for All In instead, although I prefer it to still be Dan Garcia because you've actually built a story this past week, but you catch my drift. Maybe it's a freeway, I don't know. But I think that it leads Swerve nicely to carry on, and he's got the edge back on him because I think he'd lost that edge as world champion. I think he got a bit soft as a baby face. You said he's gone a bit more heel-like. I like that. With Hangman coming back in, if he does win as the wild card, the Owen Hart tournament, it's Swerve versus Hangman one more time, and they can put some fancy shenanigan. We've been asked earlier on, should there be a stipulation? I don't think it should be added to this match. It should be added to their match at All In because they've done everything already, Texas Death and all the rest of it, but they need to have something which, I don't know, signifies like last man standing. Do you know what I mean? Like the other one's not getting up for good. I don't know what match they do, but they need to do something for Swerve and Hangman to finish off. So yeah, I'm going to say Swerve retains, but I think MJF is the reason.
Okay. So I actually thought that, yes, the Tiger Drive would come into the finish. I thought, again, especially because it's fueled by not taking your shot, fueled by Swerve giving him the kill shot this past week. I think it's like he's so angry, he goes to do it. But again, he's a baby face. So it's like, the better judgment sort of thing gets to him. He doesn't do it. And I actually had predicted Swerve beats him with the Tiger Driver because you never took your shot. I'm going to take it for you sort of thing. We might also get, like you mentioned, a ref bump. I thought you were going to say Don Callis and Don Callis family. Will Ospreay did say as well in the promos leading up to this that, I don't need the Don Callis family. True. So that could be someone that kind of screws him, although I do like the idea of MJF probably more than Don Callis family. Yeah, I think either way, like I said, I was very nervous when this match was announced. I thought, oh my God, like Swerve, it's over for you already. I was even speaking during the week to a friend, and they were saying, traditionally as well, obviously we know last week they had a very poor rating in terms of the TVs. Like if this is like traditional wrestling where your top guy is the draw and you have a result like that, at the first opportunity, you change your top guy basically to get the crowd back on side, and Ospreay would be that guy to do that. I hope they stick with Swerve and they don't do anything like that. But yeah, Ospreay versus MJF All In could be something. I was hinting to more towards Ospreay versus Ricochet. I think that's probably what we get at All In. Yeah, we'll have to see. But yeah, I think we both think Strickland wins here.
I think Strickland wins. The thing is with Ospreay, it's so interesting because like he has so many great. The show's called Forbidden Door because he's got so many doors of where he could go next. It doesn't matter, which door should we go behind, 1, 2, 3, or 4? Because like he could go with the Don Callis family, like you say, they could continue that story. But he's beaten most of them already in matches, so I feel like it's just a bit. Okay, it's a bit redundant, but we can go there if we need to, but maybe for weekly TV. I feel like you mentioned there, obviously, we could do a rematch with these two, but obviously with the fact that we've got the Owen Hart tournament, that rules that out. MJF would be a fun one to do. Ricochet would be a lot of fun as well. Obviously, it feels like the perfect match to do with these two to be reunited, especially when Ospreay's the one that spoke up and say, Ricochet, you were something more. It's probably given Ricochet the thing of like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to bet on myself kind of thing. I actually thought before, because it's the international title, it's in the UK, I was also wondering if Michael Oku might have got a shout at this show to come in for Wembley, but maybe that's just pie in the sky thinking.
He was there last year. Obviously, he had a little extra role last year alongside Simon Miller and some other wrestlers and stuff. Jericho, I can tell you that much, has a real liking to Michael Oku. On his Jericho cruise, he made Oku the champion of the Jericho cruise. So yeah, I think that connection is still there. I can't speak to anything that they may have or may not be booking, but I would love to see Michael Loco on this card in some capacity. But again, they're just so stacked right now. They've got so many guys already. Like even if Ricochet came in, it's almost like who do they shaft for Ricochet to go into the card? So yeah, it's crazy.
Absolutely. And there's so many big names we've not made. We mentioned Jay White being one. Obviously, Adam Copeland's out injured. Christian Cage is not on this show. It's like there's so many talents that they have that they sort of can just go between each and every show and stuff. And they've got such a solid roster. But hey, we've made our prediction and we've gone for Swerve Strickland. We're going to stick with that one there. And hey, it's going to be exciting to see how it does turn. But let's do our last few comments of the stream and then we will wrap things up. We've got Bobby here saying Swerve Strickland wins here. We've got Daz here saying that Ospreay wins. We've got Temple Plays in the house. It says evening, bruvs. Good to see you, Temple. Says with the excuse me. Says here Jack Perry for the ladder match has gone for. He's very interested with MJF and Daniel Garcia. He's gone for Mina to win over Toni Storm, which is fantastic. And Eric will give you the plug. He's doing a live stream tonight. Eric Douglas on YouTube, everybody. Going to be talking about delusional fans of Hater. Would you like to join? Well, if you'd like to, you know what to do. Go and join Eric Douglas there on that. When do we see Will Ospreay winning the big one in AEW? That's a big question. I like that.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. I think it looked like it was going to happen very, very soon. And then obviously we've mentioned Hangman as someone that's going to come in. There's still the temptation of putting the top title on Okada will always be there. So that could be something they do. But I think they're taking the scenic route with these guys that they bring in, hence why they gave him like the mid-card title. They've given Okada the other mid-card title. They've given Mercedes Moné a mid-card title. They're taking a scenic route before pushing them to the top, which I think is absolutely fine. Maybe next year we see Ospreay as world champion at some point.
All in 2025?
Possibly, yeah. That's a good shot.
Might be there for that one. You never know. Well, I tell you what, ladies and gents, that has been all our predictions then for Forbidden Door. But hey, look, Mekz, not always on this channel. I wouldn't call it a forbidden door. It's always a welcome door when you come through here, and it's always great to have you on board. But for those who are not familiar with your work, and if not by now, where are you hiding? This guy is everywhere right now. Mekz, tell everybody about what you do.
I appreciate inviting me onto your platform, Steve. Always have a good time here. So yeah, WrestleManiac UK. You can find work on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, X, Twitter, whatever you call it. You can also find me on Rest Things YouTube channel, collective of guys just making content, trying to present wrestling content in a different way. Recently, today, just released our new series of Rest Things House. Think of Gogglebox if you are familiar with Gogglebox, but watching wrestling. So yeah, that's out on the Rest Things channel. And of course, you can catch me on a Gorilla Position podcast that has made its return this past year. So they got a YouTube channel as well, Gorilla Position, and the podcast comes out every Wednesday, so you can get that on all your podcast platforms.
Fantastic. Yeah, highly recommend. And also, as I say on your channel as well, through working there, you've got interviews with likes of Drew McIntyre, Chelsea Green, the host of W Superstars on your channel as well to check out now from Clash as well. So, Mekz, honestly, Mr. No Days Off probably gets no sleep either. So definitely go and give him some love on cool social channels, because honestly does incredible work, and it's been a pleasure to have Mekz on once again as always. But want to say as well, if you enjoyed this video and you like this channel, then you feel free to subscribe as well here if you're on the YouTube side. And if you're on the X side, switch over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. You can see more content on this channel on the regular. There are watch alongs available now for Money in the Bank, and also the worst match ever. We did Undertaker and Goldberg the other day, which was a fun ride. I can tell you to watch that again. But with Money in the Bank as well next week, and of course NXT Heatwave, the prediction streams for those on YouTube and here on X as well, so you can keep an eye out for those. And yeah, honestly, thanks all for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and retweet, and all that stuff. It really helps the channel a long way. But enjoy Forbidden Door, and we will see you very, very soon. Take care. Thank you all for watching.